So hello everybody and welcome to Behind the Scenes in continuation of our theme on sustainability and to mark World Earth Day. Today I'm talking to Chantal and Carina from, well, they are the driving force behind Event Cycle. So ladies, thank you for joining me today. First off, for anybody who doesn't know you or know what you do, can you give me a really succinct description of what it is that Event Cycle does?
Yeah, absolutely. In a nutshell, we take leftover materials from the end of events and repurpose them with charities, community groups and social enterprises. So that's a short version.
No, it's great. Thank you. That's what I wanted. So what is the main aim? What is the main aim of what it is that you're trying to do?
So we hope to reduce, we hope to tackle the challenge of sustainability within the events industry and waste as well, really. And we're trying to make a positive social impact in the third sector. And hoping to take everyone along on the journey to be more sustainable and more conscious about what they're trying to do and how they interact with their environment, be it environmental and the planet, or also within their environment and communities and that social element.
So do you guys both come from an event background then?
Yeah, we do. Actually, we both met whilst we worked at the experiential marketing agency, George P. Johnson. So I was an event director there. Carina was in technical production. So I planned the events, Carina built them, and then we both, sadly and admittedly, like lots of other people, chucked all the stuff away at the end or put it into storage where we claim to be able to use it again, much to our clients' requests. But then often that gets forgotten about and ends up in skips offsite anyway.
So was that where you two came up with this idea? Was it born out of a frustration, a real desire? Was it a conversation that one of you just mentioned one day over a cup of tea and said, you know what, I'm really thinking at this, and is that where it came from? How did it come about?
So it was actually when both of us were no longer working at that company, just after the redundancy fund that I'm sure everyone experienced. And we were sitting together and having a conversation about how all of this knowledge that was sitting in all of the agencies about where things were and what was in all of these storages. And I know you guys at KB definitely know how that feels and how there's stuff probably still from the Olympics sitting within your storage areas of people.
The problem is there is some really beautiful stuff made.
Exactly. Yeah. But if people don't know about it, or if the people that knew about it have now left or have been made left, then that all of that knowledge is gone, but someone needs to sort it out. And originally we're like, oh yeah, surely there's a company that does that, and then we fairly quickly realized that wasn't the case. And we were also volunteering at the same time, actually together at the same charity, and we realized it wasn't just about money, or it wasn't just about volunteering time, it was also about items and getting stuff, which meant that they then didn't have to spend that money to buy it and instead could use it within their community. And so we're like, all right, hold on, there's a supply of stuff sitting around, which is still absolutely great to use, as you say, the majority of it is beautiful things, and there's a massive demand as well, right? So we're like, okay, let's combine the two, and that's how we formed.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as you say, it's the stuff, isn't it? I mean, the quality of it, because of the nature of the events that we do, but particularly some of the corporate work, it's top-notch stuff. It really, really is lovely. So what's been, I'm assuming that you've been spreading your word since starting up Event Cycle. What's been the response from production personnel to what you're doing?
It's been amazing. Everybody's been so supportive. I mean, certainly you guys at KB have been one of our biggest supporters, helping us to facilitate the movement of all of the items wherever we can. And everybody that we've pretty much ever worked with has been in touch with us to say, we've got all these items, is there anything we can do to help? And I think because sustainability has become to the forefront of events, we realise we can't just continue on this linear way. We offer a really good solution, and obviously everybody gets all these wonderful stories too. So incredibly great and very supportive.
And I guess the other response that we've also been getting has been a lot of, oh yeah, I was hoping that someone would do this. I've been thinking about this for years now and I just never did, or I've been trying to do this and it hasn't worked. And it's like, all right, cool. We're here to support you and help you with that need of trying to sort it out. And yeah, we know how the events industry work. We know that it can be a pain sometimes. And so we want to take that pain or that time investment away from the people who are absolutely busy doing what they do on a regular basis, and just support back as much as the events industry is supporting us.
I mean, you were involved in a huge scale on COP, weren't you? In terms of that, I mean, that was quite a baptism of fire. I mean, it was a massive event anyway, you know, but for a new business, incredible to be involved with. And why not start with COP? You know, let's start with the main sustainability event that you know this country's seen for a number of years. Let's do that. So, do you have a holding area for your stuff, or are you kind of relying on being able to move that stuff from A to B without having to put it into storage yourself?
Leanne, can we do a quick pause?
Yes.
Food has just rung.
Hold on a second. Hello. So we're back again now. So what I was asking girls was, do you have a facility? So when you're getting these amazing items that are left over from shows or have been finished with shows, do you have a facility where you take that stuff into and then you wait to repurpose them, or are you hoping, best case scenario, to move from A to B?
So I think in the first instance, when we first started out, we're like, yeah, we'll need a warehouse. We need, you know, all of that process will be running through a warehouse. And then we realized we're going through stuff so quickly because it's being, you know, either picked up directly by charity or it's being moved so quickly that we haven't really needed a warehouse. Luckily, you guys at KB and Stuart have been absolutely lovely. And I think last year was the first time we used his offer of being able to use some of the warehouse space. I think we had an Arctic in there for about a month, and then that was picked up. And yeah, we currently have a couple of pallets with you guys as well. It's just, apart from that, the majority of it gets picked up straight away, but it's really, really amazing to have that option, to be able to have a scalable space that can work with the needs that we might have of items coming back.
And also it's really helpful for particularly interesting items that are a bit larger, like some we've done recently, I'm sure we'll be writing about very soon. To have that facility and get things away from London as well, because we have a lot of work that comes through to London. So for any special projects, it's really helpful. And then for anything where we think we kind of saturated the charities in the area, just to take it a little bit further out.
Yeah, great. I mean, we were talking about Stuart and KB. I can remember Stuart first talking about you guys and what you did, and I was doing another interview a bit earlier on this week with the guy who does our HVO biofuel, and just about the relationship that we forge with them, and it is all about that at the moment. And it is, you know, people look at us as a trucking company and go, oh God, we're so environmentally unfriendly. Well, we're trying to be as friendly as we possibly can be.
Yeah.
So I mean, only last week did we piggyback onto another show in order for the trucks not to go around empty. And yeah, I mean, as soon as it got unloaded, I think in Gatwick area or something like that, it came to us, loaded up, and then, you know, took stuff up to you guys. So I think what you guys are doing and what I think Stuart is also very passionate about, and making sure that no journey is empty, you know, using the right fuel, offering it for every single job, and just going about it with a bit of common sense and passion. You know, there's other companies who are just like, oh yeah, cool, A to B, fine. It's like, no, but it's important to look at what's being transported, how it's being done, the the relationship with you guys as well, the communication of, you know, just giving a quick call and knowing that once you get driver details, it's all sorted, it's fine. You can absolutely rely on it. Actually, a really funny story from this week. We dropped some items off in Wales, and I should probably mention this before, but your truck driver has gotten raving reviews from the charity that was there and said absolute trooper, because it wasn't as easy of an item to place. It was this large outdoor structure, and yeah, it's like you literally brought the best team to the job. Like, it was there's a lot of faffing about, but on our end, but you know, like the guys who came there were great. Like, it was so professional. It's like, yes, because it's
one of the things I think, you know, that we get slightly frustrated about from time to time. You know, when you're talking about event drivers, they are really good at what they do. They are a breed apart, and you know, and that's why a lot of them have worked for us a long time. We don't want them to go, because at the end of the day, I very rarely now go out on the road. So, you know, they are the guys that are representing the brand out on the road, and we've always had as our USP, you know, that we will go that extra mile. That Stuart does look at a project holistically in terms of not only the delivery and the budget, but the best way to do it. And it doesn't all come down to money. It comes down to, why are you sending empty trucks up to send full trucks back? You know, let's look at this a different way. And that's why he's really passionate about getting in at the bones of a project, but then to forge a relationship with you guys and come in then at the end of the project as well, so that not only are we operating it's that holistic view. And I think, you know, from our perspective, being able to work with you guys is, you know, is brilliant, because it completely you know, illustrates what we're passionate about. And it's actually, you know, it is that thing. There was so much talk over the COVID months about how the industry, the music side, the corporate side, were going to come back and they were going to do this better. And you know, and it's great for us to be working with so many clients on the road at the moment who have come back and insisted on using HVO biofuel on the music side and on the corporate side, but then also to be working with you guys. And there is this wonderful change. And, you know, we can say that at this day, at this moment in time, we're doing this the best we possibly can.
I think, to underline, you're doing it.
Yes.
You're not just talking about it. You're doing it. And it's not like, oh, yeah, I've got this certification, I'm great. It's like, no, you're proving that I mean, you were one of the first ones to get your certifications on sustainability. So
and I was very disappointed all those years ago when we got it, that people just didn't, you know, weren't as passionate about it as I was. But we've, you know, although we didn't continue on with this certification, we carried on with the modes of practice, and we carried on, you know, with that stuff in terms of self-auditing. And so then you come back round to the situation that we currently find ourselves in. We are once again at the forefront, at the head of the game, and that's not, you know, that's not to wave a flag or to bang a drum. That's just because that's what sits well at the ethos of the company, and that's what sits well with Stuart and I. So it's great to be working with you guys, and I, you know, I'm you know, long may it continue, you know, and the stuff get bigger and more interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah, sure it will. If you, this is one of the questions that I mentioned to you guys the other day when I was talking to you about the interview today. If you could sit down with a bunch of production personnel or producers when they're planning or designing a show, is there anything that you would say to them about the stuff that they used or the way that they thought about doing it, when it comes to the end game, when it comes to the D-rig, and then what happens with the stuff after that?
It's entirely about thinking it right from the very start, even before you've responded to the RFP. Think about sustainability, think about what you're going to put into that pitch, where it's going to go afterwards, and why you've made the decisions you've made. Why are you using that item? Do you have to use that item? Can you use something that is recyclable? And you should be using things that are both made of recyclable materials and can be recycled afterwards. And you should be thinking about where all the items that you can't recycle are going at the end before you've even started on that journey. So it's involving everybody from creative to logistics to production to registration. Everybody needs to be involved in that conversation right from the very start, so they can all be held accountable for every single purchase that is made and where it ends up.
Do you see that there's going to come a time when you guys are going to possibly offer a service where people can come to you and go, we've got this idea for a show. Have you got a list of people that we could talk to about where we can get this kind of stuff from? I mean, do you see yourself providing?
I mean, we thought of doing that already in bits and pieces.
It doesn't surprise me.
One of my favourite parts of what we do is designing with social impact in mind, and certainly it's taken a little while to get some agencies and suppliers on board, but there's certainly some that are working with us right from the very pitch stage, and we're talking about designing in elements to the event that have been made by people who would otherwise not have access to employment, and it's made out of reclaimed materials. It's going into the event so they can talk about it during the event. So your CEO could be sat on stage on a chair that's already going to a charity afterwards. So it's all planned in, and it's made by a different charity beforehand. So yeah, absolutely.
Such an amazing thing, not only for the event organizer, but for the end user. To be making the point about, you know, my show is 100% sustainable. You know, and the stuff that's new has already got somewhere else to go. I mean, that's an amazing thing for them to say. Cool. I mean, my next question is, what's the next few months got in store? You're not going to sleep, have you?
No. No, it's really exciting. There's quite a few projects out there that are going to be confirmed very soon.
Yeah, there's another big exciting one which we will talk about when we can.
Yes, that'll be our big one for the year. And then there's those requests coming in every day from you know under a pallet's worth of lanyards and cushions or what it might be, to like this week we placed a metro carriage. As you do. Of course.
I'm sure it won't be the strangest thing that you place. I'm really sure.
It's top of the list at the moment.
At the moment it's topping it. Like 6 meters by 3 meter metro carriage. And I mean, it's such a nice story as well. It's going into this community area or a school situation where it's now like a reading zone for kids, and just like a place where they can come and relax and wind down a bit. So
and it will be quiet and peaceful inside. That's amazing. Lovely. Well, good for you. And my last question is, in terms of the industry as a whole, where do you think sustainability is going to be in a year's time? Do you think we're going to be looking at somewhere very different this time
in a year?
Yeah. What do you
think? I think it's going to be pushed along a lot more. What we're hoping for is that it becomes a bit more second nature, and not as much of and we now need to add on sustainability. No, it needs to be incorporated within everything that people do, a bit like health and safety, really. You know, I'm hoping that that's the sort of the approach it's going to go. And
we've seen that evolve. I mean, you know, when I first started in the industry, you know, all manner of horrors. Well, not horrors. It was just the norm, and then the change, then the change afoot, and all of a sudden, lots of PPE on site, and then lots of training, and then lots of certificates. So, be good if sustainability kicked in a bit quicker than safety.
Well, yes, absolutely. I think it'll be clients asking a lot more. What people's approaches are to sustainability, and I think they'll be asking that from every single entity of that whole work stream, from the suppliers to the venues to their own internals to creative. Everyone will be asked how they are integrating sustainability, or just making sure that they're not buying the stuff that isn't sustainable from the get-go. I think at some point it'll just be hey, you know, what are you doing? And hopefully a couple of years after, maybe not, maybe it is in the year, you know, who knows? It'll be an element of this is my little passion project at the moment. there's loads, but it's basically saying every time an agency or an end client asks for a quote, you give them the bottom line of what it costs, but you also put in the carbon footprint of your quote. So then the client can overall see what the carbon footprint is for that event. And if there is something like, I don't know, for example, if originally they asked you guys to quote for normal fuel, and you get the carbon footprint of that, and then they're like, oh, actually that carbon footprint is quite high, what can we do about it? It's like, well, we could have used HVO fuel, right? And then this is what the carbon footprint is of that, and see those changes, and being able to set targets better, and to be able to look at how you are shaping your event based on the sustainability element of the carbon footprint. And I think that's hopefully where we're going to go.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, what you're doing already is amazing, and the awareness of what you're doing, and you know how many organisations are speaking to you, and you know, and I hope it just keeps growing for you guys. And I hope, as you say, you know, what you're doing, you know, becomes the norm, that people are talking about the sustainability issue from the very beginning, about how they're designing shows. Ladies, my hat's off to you. Incredible what you're doing. It's also amazing to be working with you. So you know, long may that continue. Thank you so much for talking to me today. As I say, this is going to go up in April to coincide with the World Earth Day, which is really important, and I'll put links to your socials up as well, just so that people can find you, because that's, I think lots of people will be really interested in what you do, and hopefully you'll have to employ millions more people. Take care, Carina and Chantal. Thank you so much for talking to me, and I look forward to speaking to you really soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.